Hi guys, welcome to the channel, Practical Reefer. My name's Mark. Now, if you've noticed in my last few videos, there's been a package in the back corner of my cabinet in the reefer, just standing waiting there to be used. Now what it is, it's actually an 18 watt Reef LED. So it's another one of my purchases off of AliExpress. It comes very well packaged in this sort of inflated surround or packaging. So what it's actually a copy of, or it's actually not a copy, it's the original equipment manufacturer for what they call the Reef Breeders Pico LED. Now that's a branded product in the States, and I think it's about $70–80, whereas off of AliExpress you can buy the same light for me it was about £22–23. I don't know what it'd be in the States, but I know that you can't really buy the Reef Breeders Pico LED in the UK, not off of like Amazon or eBay, or at least there's not many kicking about if they are. But I know I can buy it off of AliExpress for something about £22. So why I kind of went for this light is that last year in May I seen a post from Telegram, and he actually bought the OEM version for I think it's probably about $30. And he tested it and it was throwing out true UV, and it's exactly the same product. There's no need to be buying it from, I think it was like Marine Depot, BRS and other big suppliers in the States that were selling these for $70, whereas you could go and buy it for $30 off of AliExpress. So money to be saved there, and it's the same product made in the same factory. So they're calling it a Q2. Surprise surprise, the instructions are of absolutely no use because they're all in Chinese, but for a product like this we're not really worried. So just comes in a simple, I'm not going to do an unboxing, it's just a box. We can all open one of those and toss it to the side. Very simple product as far as I'm aware. So this is the light itself. As I said, it was an 18 watt LED. Let me just get a focus there. So it's got 4 blue LEDs, which are 3 watt, one what they call violet, it's UV, and 1 white LED, which is the one in the middle there. So you've got the 6 LEDs, all 3 watts each, that comes to 18, excuse the focus. So you've got those there. It comes with a clamp, so it just clamps on. It's got the gooseneck already, and then you've got the power cable. Now luckily with mine, I did actually get a UK plug, which isn't always the case with AliExpress. You sometimes get like a European or a US plug, and you've got to get an adapter, and it basically just connects in here to the two sections. So there we go, got our light. It's got a simple switch on it, like any bedside lamp. Connects onto there, UK plug, and that's a light. Probably should have zoomed out a little bit for that, but it's very simple. I'll show it in the sump there. So plan for this light is actually to go into my sump. So this light apparently is good for 30 to 50 centimeter aquariums. Now I reckon, best part of a 2 foot 50 centimeter aquarium is probably a bit much for this. Maybe if it was a very shallow lagoon, it'd probably do the job, but 18 watts isn't a lot of power. However, I'll show you where I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it in part of the sump, and any corals are going to be there, are A, going to be Zoas, so don't need huge amounts of light, and B, are actually going to be in quite shallow water. So I reckon this could do the job for me, and be quite tidy. It's a very neat light. So we'll get it in over the sump, we'll get it switched on, see what it looks like with the light. And what I will say as well, the Telegram post I think I mentioned there is that he did a spectrum test on it, and it was throwing out true UV, and it was a great spectrum. I'll put a couple of screenshots up just now, just showing it. So obviously he tested this, and it's it's a good quality light. It's just less than half the price of what you would pay going direct to a local supplier, certainly in the US. So really happy with that. Nice little purchase, £22. If it goes a bit wrong, then it can easily be replaced, and it's not too intense. I don't need a massive big bright light to light a few zones in the sump. So we'll get it in the sump and we'll have a look and see what it looks like. So guys, it's a very simple light. There's a clamp here with a thumb screw, so that just goes over the glass, and then it just tightens onto the glass. So I've sat that roughly about midway. What I'll do, I'll actually just zoom out slightly. So as I said before, I made these frag tiles. I've obviously left some gaps in there. So my plan over the next few days is to frag some of the Zoas that I've got in a little 10 gallon, put them on tiles in the gaps that you see here on my frag racks, and then possibly let them grow out or just carry on and just grow away in the sump there. So we'll crack the light on. It's probably going to be a bit blue. I'll probably need to go grab the filter in a second. But that's the plan there, is to use the light. Very, very nice light. We've got 4 blue LEDs, as I said, at 3 watts, 1 violet UV, and 1 white light. So it's actually quite a nice colour that's coming from it. It's looking good. I'll pop out and just crack the filters on and just have a closer look. So guys, this is the plan. As you can see, I've got the 2 racks there. There's actually a shorter one that sits underneath, which I did plan to put in the middle, but the bit of live rock there is kind of causing the issues with that at the moment. So probably just nip that down a bit with a hammer or something, just so the live rock sits under all 3 trays, and then the smaller one there can actually sit in between, and it allows me to slide the bigger one on the right there over for getting the skimmer out and stuff. So it gives me a little bit of flexibility of moving things over to one side to get in and clean things and move things about, but more interested in the light just now. So yeah, really, really super simple. Nice little clamp there, does the job absolutely. And then we've got the light there. I'm pretty sure it should do enough, have enough power to grow Zoas. And as we say, the actual depth of water, you'd be lucky if it's about 4 inches. So we're not having issues with the power of the light. And obviously with the flexible swan neck, it can be rotated down and up a bit. And I'm sure I could play about with it and get a bit more level, or I could mount it maybe a little bit lower off to the side on a spare bit of wood or something, so it sits perfectly level and over these racks. But looks like a really nice little light. Obviously I want to try and avoid algae in the sump, but I've got the skimmer and I'll be running a refugium as well, so we'll see how that goes. Obviously I don't want to have a sump full of algae on my Zoas, but I'll get some snails in here as well and things like that, maybe a couple of hermit crabs in the sump just to keep things clean, and we'll see how that goes. But it's just all about maintenance as well, just keeping on top of scraping things and having clean up crew in the sump as well. Probably some hermit crabs will do the job nicely, along with my sort of dove and stomatella snails. But looks like a really cool little light for what, 20 odd pound. I'm pretty happy with it, so we'll have a look at that and we'll just come back in a second. Also, just to let you see the actual light there, guys, that's the 4 blues, there's a UV, and then the white in the middle. That's probably a bit better there. So yeah, 4 blues and the UV. The UV does actually look quite dull, but that's on purpose, and that's how it's meant to look. And then you've got the white in the middle there, which is very, very bright. But we'll chat about that in just a second. So guys, just quickly, this is maybe about a week later from the rest of the video, but just to quickly show you the plan. So here we've got the Zoas that I've started putting onto tiles, onto the racks, so hopefully they'll start growing out. Now these have been kind of fragged, scraped off of plugs, scraped off of bits of rocks and dipped quite aggressively because I'm hoping not to bring any pests into this tank. So there's a few that still aren't open, and they've been super glued to plugs and things, so they've been a little bit abused, but most of them are opening. We've got sonic flares at the bottom there, bam bams, get the focus in. I think that's speckled fire and ice, random one on 2 plugs there, which is quite nice, so and grows quite nice. Hawaiian sunset, some sunny D's, Gatorade there with just 1 of them open, and then I think I've got Rasta's cousin on that plug, and Tutti Frutti, some of them are starting to open. I think it's Space Incinerator or something like that. There's a few going there. Scrambled eggs up the top, some nuclear green, some sort. Rasta's, LA Lakers at the top there, and there's a few others that are just coming round, which I think we've got in here. There's a few opening. They've all been kind of taken off plugs and scraped to make sure there's no any pests, but this is what it looks like under the Reef Breeders Pico LED. So yeah, looking good. I've got the return off and the skimmer off just now, just for noise. But yeah, this is the plan. Just grow out some Zoas in the sump, and then I'll probably end up with some in the tank as well, but it just allows me to take my time and put them where I really want them then. So looking good, and we'll come back. So guys, there you have it. It's a super cheap light at £22–23 from AliExpress. There's loads of different adverts, so you need to kind of go through and hit the shipping and see what the shipping charges are, and then it'll give you the true cost. Obviously for my scenario as well, I've only maybe got 4 or 5 inches of water there, and I'm looking to grow some Zoas, so absolutely probably going to have the power to do that. It's not a deep tank, obviously, because they're sitting on the racks. Now, what I'll do now is I'll just pop up the picture. This is stolen from Telegram on Instagram. So he did the full spectrum test on it. Now, it's throwing out true UV at 393 nanometers. Not a huge peak of it, but it is throwing some UV out there. And then the majority of the light is coming out at the peak of the blues is at about, I think it's about 450 nanometers. Obviously there's blue either side of that as well, but the 450 is kind of, I think, the sort of peak spectrum, and then there's a little taper off of kind of like your yellow, green and red light, which is fine. Obviously we're retractable corals, so it's nice to have a bit of that in there, but obviously massive peak at 450 blue, a little bit of UV and a little bit of broad spectrum daylight essentially. So looks almost kind of like quite a basic but near enough the ideal light. Obviously I'm just trying to grow some Zoas in the sump. Probably will end up being some other things in there as well, I have no doubt. But yeah, super cheap light. Looking forward to using it for 20 odd pound. It's worth a go. It's kind of a reefer thing. It's nice to experiment and play with things and try something a little bit different, and it'll allow me to close down a whole other tank, which I'm kind of running with little bits of frags in it. And that tank also has some mushrooms in it which are destined for the display of the reefer. So once I get the Zoas off that rack into the sump, I get the mushrooms into the display, that 10 gallon can get closed down. And just with energy costs and things as well, I mean, it's got a 50 watt light and, you know, 10 watt pump, 100 odd watt heater. I can close that down and probably not see it, I'll probably not notice it on my bills, but it's nice to have it shut down. And I can also use that cupboard to keep things in instead of a 10 gallon tank. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. It looks like it's going to be a great light. You know, stick around and come back in a few months and let's see what it grows. Don't forget to give me a little like, guys. Don't forget to comment below on the video. What do you think of the video? Do you have one of these lights and have you used it successfully? I'd love to know down below. Please, if you want to and like to, give me a little subscribe as well. That would be much appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.